Welcome to the Explainer. Have you ever felt like your retail planning is just chaotic? Like you're swimming in a sea of products with absolutely no blueprint for success? Well, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're cutting through all that noise. We are going to focus entirely on how to build a strong, practical, and highly strategic foundation for your retail categories. By the end of this, you are going to have the exact tools you need to stop guessing and start planning with absolute precision. Here's what we're covering today. First, we'll look at the overarching category management framework. Then we'll dive into step 0 on direction and preparation, step 1 for category definition, figure out how to structure your category correctly, move on to step 2 regarding the category's role, and wrap up with how you can apply this directly to your business. All right, part 1, the category management framework. So let's lay this all out. This 8-step framework takes us all the way from the high-level total store direction right down to the nitty-gritty tactical stuff, pricing, planograms, and promotions. It's built on a classic business strategy process. But the massive takeaway here, every single step relies on cold, hard, fact-based research. We aren't just going on gut feelings here. While the category manager steers the ship, it works so much better when you actively collaborate with your suppliers. Today, though, we're zooming right in on the very top of this funnel to really nail down your foundation. Moving into our second section, step 0, direction and preparation. Okay, so what exactly is step 0? It's all about grasping the broader strategic direction of your entire business before you even look at a single product. It's also that crucial moment where you consciously choose your supplier partners and figure out exactly which internal colleagues need a seat at the table. Seriously, you cannot do this in a vacuum. So, why bother? Well, first off, we've got to make sure our individual category plan actually supports what the broader business is trying to achieve. Plus, getting crystal clear on your deliverables right out of the gate is a total game changer. It saves you so much wasted effort later on. How do you pull it off? Get your retail and purchasing managers together for structured discussions. And keep in mind, this is an annual thing. You should be tackling this months before your actual planning cycle even kicks off. To really ground this in the real world, here is a fantastic foundational question you and your team absolutely need to answer. Ask yourselves, when do we actually need to deliver the new category plan? And what does the work plan look like? It sounds so basic, right? But if you can't confidently answer that simple scheduling question, you just aren't ready to move to the next step. Let's jump into section 3, step 1, category definition. Category definition is, well, exactly what it sounds like. It's about confirming which products are in, and just as importantly, deliberately deciding which products are out. Think about it. Do protein bars belong next to the heavy-duty sports supplements, or should they sit in the healthy snack aisle? You also have to map out category adjacencies, but you must do this strictly through the eyes of your customer, not based on what's easiest for your internal supply chain. This is absolutely crucial because properly defining the category helps us uncover the real consumer needs that are actually driving demand. It guarantees we present the category in a way that makes sense to shoppers. But here is the real kicker. Any big changes you make to how you view the category right now will completely dictate how you organize your data and research for the rest of the entire process. That's exactly why you need both the category manager and your internal customer insight experts leading this step together. So this brings us to a major business question. What products and services are genuinely inside or outside of your category? This isn't just a simple inventory checklist. It requires making a really deliberate judgment call, one that's heavily backed by consumer research. And to make that kind of call, we need a bulletproof system. Which leads us to section 4, structuring your category correctly. Picture a big whiteboard, and we're drawing a giant funnel on it. We call this the definition funnel. We start really wide at the top. Step 1, identify the consumer needs. Step 2, we lock that down into a formalized needs statement. Step 3 is a massive brainstorm. We list out absolutely every potential SKU, or stock-keeping unit, and service that could possibly meet those needs. We're looking for everything, including interrelated or substitutable products. Then, step 4, we systematically filter that huge list all the way down to a final, tight, actionable list of SKUs that truly belong in our category. Now, as you're moving through that funnel, you're going to have to make some pretty tough cuts. You actively have to look for things to exclude. Based on the framework, you need to completely remove any SKUs that sit outside the retail value chain entirely. You also have to be ruthless and strip out any products that your team simply cannot manage or measure. If you can't actively manage it or measure its success, it has absolutely no business clogging up your newly defined category. All right, on to Section 5, Step 2, Category Role. Step 2 is where we determine the overarching importance of the category and the specific job it has to do within the total store's portfolio. Every single category has a specific job to perform, and it's on you to figure out exactly what that is. Why is this so incredibly vital? Because the role you assign completely sets the direction for the category's KPIs. But even more importantly, it dictates resource allocation. Getting this step right is literally the secret to unlocking prime retail shelf space and securing serious financial investment from your leadership team. You usually tackle this as part of your total store strategy, which then tells the category manager exactly how this assigned role is going to impact their future plans. Okay, so we know it's a big deal, but we can't just guess a category's role based on a hunch. The big question here is, how do we practically and objectively validate what that role actually is? We don't guess. We use a highly specific assessment tool. And here is that very tool, the Category Portfolio Assessment. You're going to ask 3 main questions for each category, projecting out over the next 3 years, and you score them 0, 1, or 2. Question 1. Is the category bought by a small, medium, or large chunk of the population? Question 2. Is it bought infrequently, regularly, or super frequently? And question 3. Is the market spend per visit low, medium, or high? By forcing yourself to assign a solid 0, 1, or 2, you completely strip away the subjective opinions and replace them with hard, undeniable data. Once you've crunched those numbers, you map them right onto a category attractiveness grid. The really low-scoring categories, those might get flagged to just exit or ignore. But as the scores creep up, categories start grouping into distinct roles. You might get convenience categories. Think grabbing a hot coffee, a magazine, or a candy bar. Score even higher, and you're pushing into destination categories or core categories. This visual map is pure gold. It makes it so easy to justify to your partners exactly why a specific category deserves a specific chunk of the budget. And finally, Section 6, applying this to your business. So, if you take nothing else away from this, remember this: do not skip these foundational steps. By drawing clear boundaries around what is and isn't in your category, and by mathematically proving its role in the wider store, you're doing all the heavy lifting up front. This is the exact blueprint that sets the direction for your KPIs and gives you rock-solid justification for the resources, space, and money you're asking for. It takes all the emotion out of retail planning and replaces it with pure clarity. Which brings us to one final thought. I want you to look at your current retail categories today. Have you honestly defined their boundaries based on what your customers actually need? Do you know their mathematically validated role within your store? Are you ready to build your own foundational blueprint and kick off your planning cycle the right way? Grab that whiteboard, start asking the tough questions, and just watch your category management completely transform. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.